Hello everyone, this is Steven from the Even Steven channel, and today we're going to do a little bit of a comparison video. We're going to compare the Beretta PX4 Storm and the H&K P2000. Let's start getting them out. We got the P2000, the PX4 Storm first, unloaded. This is the full-size PX4 Storm in 9mm. Let's see, get that box out of the way. How should we decorate this? Let's see, we'll throw a couple magazines over here. Magazine loader. Got the gun here. Let's get the H&K P2000 out too. A little bit of a safety check there as well. Some more magazines. So this is not a perfect comparison. Now, the PX4 Storm is very much the full-size gun, or definitely the full-size grip. The P2000 is more of a compact gun, more of a mid-size gun, although they really aren't that big a difference. You know, it's not that big difference in size, but it's there. It's there. But anyway, these are both, first of all, they're both handguns. They're both hammer-fired handguns. They're both polymer-framed. They're both in 9mm. They both have decockers, and they both come from companies with pretty good reputations. So we're going to compare the PX4 Storm and the H&K P2000. Now, how should we do that? I guess we'll go bottom to top as I typically do, and we'll start with the magazines. So this is the full-size PX4 Storm versus kind of the mid-size H&K P2000. The standard capacity for the PX4 Storm is 17 rounds. The standard capacity for the P2000 is, I think, 13 rounds. But even with the PX4 Compact, this is the full size. But even with the PX4 Storm Compact, the Compact holds 15 rounds. So that still beats the P2000. Now, as you might have noticed, these are both 10-round magazines. These are reduced capacity, low capacity magazines as per New Jersey. These magazines are both very high quality. This one's a little more kind of highly polished blue, but works fine. Both pretty easy to load. This PX4 Storm mag is actually very easy to load. This one's not bad either. Again, high quality, good magazines. The HK magazines are a little more expensive, but again, $30–40 for each, depending on where you're looking. And they're both excellent. No problem. No problem with either the either magazine from either company. Now, let's start talking about the grip. The grip on the keep my nomenclature right. The grip on the Beretta PX4 Storm is okay. It's okay. The texturing here is pretty good. The texturing on the sides was a little slick, so I ended up putting a little bit of Talon grip tape on there. I feel like this portion right here should be reduced just a little bit more. Get your hand a little bit higher into the gun, but it's not terrible. I had to replace the magazine release on this gun with the extended Beretta factory extended magazine release. But the ergonomics on the PX4 Storm are okay. Not great, they're okay. The P2000, I think, is a little bit better, honestly. They have replaceable back straps. This one does as well, although I don't have any of the replaceable back straps. But I feel like with the replaceable back straps, this fits my hand just a little bit better. I get my hand a little bit deeper in there. For whatever reason, the large back strap is rubberized, and I actually have come to like it. I kind of just like the way it feels. Ergonomically, I feel like the P2000 is just a little bit better than the PX4 Storm. It has the kind of anti-rotational lines here. Good texture in the front, good texture in the back. Again, maybe just one step above the PX4 Storm. It's got the magazine release, the ambi magazine release. You can hit it from either side. I can hit it with my thumb, but typically I hit it with the middle finger of my shooting hand. Just hard to show. Both of these guns have decockers. On the P2000, the decocker is in the back here, which seems like an odd spot, but I think it actually works pretty well. It keeps that pretty slim and trim to the gun. A little oil there. And just overall, the P2000 has a very trim layout, a very trim appearance. Where you go to the PX4, there's just a lot more stuff hanging off. The slide release kind of sticks out a little more. The decocker sticks out a little more. The slide release here is a little more low profile to the gun. The PX4 Storm only has a slide release on the left side. However, I have seen pictures of PX4 Storms with a slide release on the right side. And I don't know if that's like a mirror image. I don't think so. But I wonder if there was an update to the PX4 where they gave it ambi slide release. That's an interesting feature. The sights, well, this is factory HK night sights. Was that Meprolite sights? It's a factory option you can get, and sights are pretty good. The PX4 Storm sights are also decent. These are kind of a little more like M9 sights or Beretta 92 sights. They have that kind of appearance to it. Even if they're not identical, it kind of looks more like that. A little more air in there. You know, so a little more air in there. But I think both of these work pretty well. I want to give the edge to the HK P2000. These are night sights. I did pay extra for that, but I want to give the edge to the P2000. However, neither one's bad. Neither one's bad. Forgot to mention the P2000 is also wearing an extended magazine release. This is not the one it came with. This is the HK45 compact magazine release, which is interchangeable with the P2000, and it's just a lot better. So these both have replacement, I guess, factory magazine releases. Let's see, let's go forward. Let's talk about the trigger. So these guns have both gotten a little bit of trigger work. The PX4 Storm got very little trigger work. It got basically a hammer spring replacement, a Langdon Tactical hammer spring replacement in here. I put a new hammer spring in, and it is pretty good. The double action is a little long. Could be a tad bit lighter. It's not bad. I think it's adequate. I don't think it's worth putting more money into. Single action is pretty crisp. Pretty short, pretty crisp. Nothing to write home about, but it does get the job done. I want to point out before I forget, the PX4 Storm has slide serrations in both the rear and the front. They're both pretty usable. The P2000 has slide release only in the rear. However, the slide release on the P2000, sorry, the serrations on the P2000 in the back are probably just a little bit more aggressive, but only in the back, not in the front. The trigger on the P2000 is just a tad bit heavier, and the double action pull is significantly heavier. Significant. And that's unfortunate because the P2000 I have here, this particular example, got a Langdon Tactical trigger job, and even after that trigger job, it's a little bit underwhelming, honestly. Yeah, that is just, the trigger on the PX4 Storm is just nicer in every way. Just is. They both have pretty nice big trigger guards. This is a really big trigger guard. This one's just a tad bit smaller, but still adequate. Both of these have a single point accessory rail, and this rail is for the Black Hawk Omnivore holster, which I like to put on all my guns. So they both get a single accessory slot there. The P2000 has a, I think it's like a 3.66 inch barrel. I believe this is polygonal rifling without looking down the barrel. I believe that's the polygonal rifling. The PX4 Storm has a 4-inch barrel, and I believe that's traditional lands and grooves. So like I briefly mentioned before, these are slightly different sized guns. The PX4 Storm weighs about, I think it's 28 ounces. The P2000 weighs about 25 ounces. So 3 ounces difference, 3 ounces difference. This is a 4-inch barrel. This has a 3.66 inch barrel. So the PX4 Storm is just a slightly bigger gun overall, and there's just no way getting around that. It's definitely longer in the grip. However, if you look at the width of it, ignoring these decocking levers, they appear to be the same width. And when you put the P2000 on top of the PX4 Storm, and I'm going to try to do it as best I can while showing it on camera. Let me see if I line up by the ejection ports or the trigger guards. You know, it's bigger. However, when you take into account this kind of pinky extension here, it's not any longer. And then you see, oh, line it up there like that. I'm going to line it up like this. So, you know, it's bigger, but it's not drastically bigger. I hope I'm lining that up correctly. The PX4 Storm is definitely bigger, but it's not so crazy a difference that I think it matters all that much. Now, how do these guns shoot? And it's interesting because I never really shot these two guns side by side for a very long time because I was focusing on the P2000 for a while. And I have to say, when I actually got to the range and shot them side by side, I realized the PX4 Storm is actually a much nicer shooting gun. The P2000, the trigger's just not as nice. It's not terrible. I keep talking about it, but I was like, for the money I spent on this, between the gun itself and the trigger job, I feel like it should have been better. But it has a snappier impulse. It just has a much snappier impulse. It's not as pleasant a gun to shoot. And then I shot this first, and I shot the PX4 Storm, and I was like, wow, this is a lot nicer. This is a lot softer shooting a gun. Seems like I could shoot faster with this gun. It just seemed like an easier gun overall to shoot. Part of that might be that rotating barrel design, which only a handful of guns have. That might make the recoil impulse come back more than flipping. P2000 might want to flip a little more, and the PX4 Storm might kind of recoil backwards a little more. I kind of downplay that. People like to really overhype it, and there might be something there. There might be something there. I just found the PX4 Storm to just be a much more pleasant and enjoyable gun to shoot. Now, on paper, that doesn't really show all that much. What do we got? So we have the P2000 at 10 yards, and the P2000 always just seemed to shoot a little bit left to me. And the PX4 Storm, well, just a tad bit right actually. So I'm going to say these groups are about the same. You want to say the P2000 is a little tighter? Okay. So that was 10 yards. This is 20 yards. P2000, 20 yards. 1, 2, 3. Should be 5 shots. Oh, there's one down there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little flyer out there. So if you ignore that, actually pretty nice 20 yards. But it's there. And the PX4 Storm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are pretty comparable, actually. If you want to say the P2000 is just a little bit tighter, I don't know, maybe take that out or take that one out. I don't know. If you want to take the farthest shot and say the P2000 had a little tighter groups, for me that day, I'll give it to the P2000. I'll say it's P2000 on that day I was shooting was ever so slightly more accurate than the PX4 Storm. I'll give it that. And I believe I was shooting this S&B ammo. I think that's what I was shooting. So like I said, I believe that the PX4 Storm is a more pleasant gun to shoot, but maybe the P2000 is just a little bit more accurate. I will say they've both been very reliable. I don't think I've had a single malfunction with this gun that was not ammunition related. I told you, I think I mentioned in previous videos, I put a box of toolless steel cased ammo in there and casings got stuck in the chamber. The PX4 Storm, I took the PX4 Storm out recently for a class and it was very, very cold. And I think I was having some weird thing where it might have been me not pushing the magazine all the way. I don't quite remember what was going on, but something weird happened with the gun. And I think it might have been me. It might have been me not pushing the magazine all the way. I kind of just went like, tap, rack, bang, and then went right back to shooting. But overall, my impressions of the PX4 Storm and the P2000, very reliable guns. Very reliable. I will not take that away from either one of them. Let's see. Anything else to add? Like accessories? I think they're about on par. These have both been around for a while. These both came out in the early 2000s. I think this one came around 2001. This one's around 2004 or so. I think as far as accessories, they're about on par. You can get holsters and magazines and all that stuff. And night sights exist, and even aftermarket support from Langdon Tactical or other companies. You know, you can do whatever you want with these guns at this point. Now, between these two guns, which one would I choose? And I'm going to do a little bit of a cop-out and say that if I can only have one gun, like, hey, Steve, you only have one gun for the rest of your life, you want a PX4 Storm or a P2000? Just one. I'd probably take a P2000. Because I feel like this gun flexes into more roles better. It's a slightly smaller gun overall, has a trimmer profile. I think this would flex into more roles better as a concealed carry gun, a home defense gun, a range gun. It's not perfect for any one of those things. But I think if I just had to have one gun, I'd go with a P2000. Now, let's just say, hey Steve, you gotta pick between these two guns. But I can have other guns too, like say a dedicated can carry gun. Then I want a PX4 Storm. I want a big PX4 Storm as a, say, maybe a home defense gun or a range gun, and then I want another gun as like a carry gun, one of those single stack 9mm, like my Beretta APX A1 carry that should be coming soon. That's not all Beretta's fault. It's been sitting in my FFL for a couple months. I'm going to get it this month. So if I can have a Beretta APX A1 carry that works well, and I can have a Beretta PX4 Storm that works well, then that 1-2 combination is really good. And I go with the PX4 Storm. So that's a little bit of a cop-out, but honestly, if someone said, if I can only have one, I kind of need some qualifications for that. I kind of need some parameters for that. I have to say that, you know, for the price, when I consider the price of the P2000 and how significantly more money it costs, the gun costs more money, the gun with the options that I got it with the FDE frame, I got it with the night sights, I got the Langdon Tactical trigger job. It's not twice as much as my Beretta PX4 Storm, but it's getting there. And I have to say, I don't think the P2000 is any significantly more better than the PX4 Storm. I think the value is in the PX4 Storm. Is the P2000 a good gun? Yeah, it's a pretty good gun. But is it twice as good as a PX4 Storm? No. I actually say they're pretty close. And I think some of it is about preference, which one you like better. And I think one of it is about what you're going to use it for. You know, what's its intended role. So that is, you know, that's a comparison. You know, I think the value is still in the PX4 Storm. I think you can still get them for about $500-600 and even cheaper new. And I think the HK guns are kind of getting, well, HK guns are always expensive. But I think there was a point where the P2000 was a little cheaper, but I think those days are gone. The P2000 is more. It's going to be at least like $100, $200, $100 to $200 more compared to the PX4. And then if you want to get any work done, that adds up. Now, anything else to add? Anything else to go over? I don't think so. I think we're just about done there. No need to make these videos any longer than need to be. I don't know if anyone actually watches the whole thing. Two good guns. You know, I think two guns that are worth comparing. Both semi-automatic, 9mm, hammer-fired, polymer-framed handguns. Both are decockers, so I thought it was worth the comparison. Anyway, this has been Steven from the Even Steven channel. Please do all that like, sharing, and subscribing. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I will see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.